So in today's video, we're going to do a weightless workout. So let's get started with our universal warm-up. We're going to start with our arms over our head in big circles to the front. And we're just going to gently tap our toe from side to side. And then we're going to go in reverse. So we're going to go to the front for about 10 times. And then we're going to go to the back 10 times. And we're just going to keep doing this over and over again for a few rounds. And next up, we're going to step out in front of us and reach for the ground. We don't necessarily have to touch the ground, but we're going to alternate our feet out and reach for whatever we can grab. So we can touch the ground, we can touch our ankles, we can just do the lunge forward. We can also do reverse lunges for this move here. And we're going to do this about 10 times on either side. Next up, we're going to do side-to-side lunges. You can keep your hands on your hips, or you can reach for the ground if that's available to you. And we're just going to keep alternating side to side. You can add a little bit of a spring in your step in the center and just keep alternating side to side. And just continuing warming up, keeping your feet parallel to each other so that you are encouraged to sit back into the hips. Next up, we're going to drop our hands onto the ground, and we're going to do what I refer to as mountain climbers. We're going to bring the knee up as close to our chin as possible and just alternate the toe taps right around where you think your knees would drop if you were to keep your palms where they are. Then we're going to take our feet and step out in towards the opposite limb of the hand and just keep reaching and reach. You can also bend your knee with this as well, but I'm going to keep my legs straight here and just keep alternating my foot to either side of my hand. Next, we're going to step around our feet and then step all the way back into the plank position. And we're just going to keep alternating our feet up, or you can keep stepping up to the same side if that suits your fancy, and just keep stepping up as close to around the hands as you possibly can. And as always, if you can't reach that far with your foot, you can always just stop it wherever it is that you can reach up towards your hands. Then from here, you can come down to a very low squat if you are able to. You can also do this from a seated position if you needed to. But what you can do from this point is to just roll back with while tapping your toes over your head and tapping your toes over your head if you can. If not, you can just roll back only as far as you can and then come up and split the legs in front of you. And then just continue to repeat that. We're going to move into some hip circles, and we're going to come into all fours position and start to draw circles with our knees. So we're going to keep drawing circles to the front about 5 times, 5 to 8 times, whatever desired number of reps to kind of get the hips warmed up. So we're just going to roll through the hips on both sides. So we're just going to roll 5 to the front, as much as you can get in there. Usually one side's a little bit more difficult than the other. And if you want to take this in the standing position, you can also do the same move if you have issues with being on your hands and your knees. You could also do this same thing standing. So then next up, we are going to go into squats with our knees. We're just going to do squats on either side of our center line. So your head and chin is going to be up and you're not curling inward. You can also use your point of reference as just tapping the elbows down on top of the thighs. And again, just squatting on either side of your center line. Next up, we're going to still do the same move, but we're going to reach out with our fingertips towards our toes and just alternate our toes out to the front. So it's just kind of like a squat kick. You don't even have to go that down deep into a squat, but it's just still getting part of the warm-up. Then you're going to bring your arms out to the side and you're going to reach behind you. And as you're doing this, you're going to try and reach up with the opposite arm and stretch through the side. Lift up and reach, lift up and reach. And just keep alternating just like that to your desired number of reps. And then the last thing you're going to do with this warm-up is stand with your knees in a slight bend position. Make sure your shoulders are giving your ears space, so there's lots of space between your shoulders and ears. And you're just going to reach around behind you and reach over your shoulder. Reach and look over your shoulder and just keep alternating to get the torso warmed up. And that's the end of your warm-up. All right, so follow me along here. From the plank position, we're just gonna walk out, out, in, out, in, out, in. Doesn't have to be fancy because you see I'm screwing up the feet here. But we're just gonna keep alternating in, and out, and we're gonna do about 10 of these. But the most important part here is that you are working your core. The next thing we're gonna work on is we're going to stand up and we're going to lift our knees up as high as we can towards our elbows. So we're pulling and we're lifting, pulling and lifting. You're going to work on bringing your knee up towards the elbow, not the other way around. We're going to do this for about 10 reps on either side. So just keep alternating and pulling, alternating and pulling. Very deceptive on how easy it looks. Next up, we're going to have a seat onto the ground, and we're going to sit in the position that's going to be the most comfortable and the one that we can hold while we push our arms over our heads. So if sitting in this position with just your feet onto the ground is enough challenge for you, then you're going to stay in this position with your feet on the ground. You can also straighten up your legs if you also have the strength to be able to do that. But the goal here is to reach whatever position your feet are in over your head 10 times and then go on to the next set. So I'm just going to take a moment to stall all of this right now because we're going to go right into another set. And so we're going to reach over our head and start by bringing the knee down, or the knee up and the elbows down towards our knees. So it's about 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10, and a couple more to grow on. All right. So then we're going to go back to the ground where we were before. And we're going to go out, in, 2, in, 3, in, 4, in, 5, in, 6, again with the fancy footwork, 7, in, 8, 9, in, and we're gonna hold this only for a moment, getting in that last few reps on either side. Then we're gonna come back to our seated position, and we're gonna hold our feet, remember, in whatever position we can hold it, while we are also bringing our arms, our reps over our head. So we're going to sit up nice and tall wherever our feet are, and we're going to start to pull with the arms for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, and 1 to grow on. Once again, we're going to afford ourselves a little bit of a stall here. Just kind of shimmy the hips, take in a breather, inhale a nice long deep breath, and then we're going to go in for our last rotation, arms over your head. And remember, we're pulling the knees down, lifting our knees up, and pulling the elbows down. Just keep alternating and alternating. We're going to go for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 1. And then we're going to come back to the ground from our plank position and do our out, in, for 3, in, 4, in, 5, in, 6, in, 7, in, 8, in, 9. And again, it doesn't have to be fancy footwork here. just however many you feel you can do from that position. Then we're heading back into our final rounds. However you want to start from that seated position with your feet onto the ground, or with them off the ground, or with them straightened. And we're just going to keep pulling the elbows down to either side. So let's do for about 5 more, maybe 5, 4, maybe just 2. So we're going to move into our next set, and this is going to be puddle jumpers. I want you to stay low as you can, and you're just essentially pretending that you're jumping puddles. It's a side-to-side motion. You can also go in the direction of the mat. You can face the other direction if you need like guidance as to how wide to make your feet. Other than that, you're going to do this to the best of your ability, and just stay as low as you can, or your knees are bent as low as possible for yourself, and you're just going to alternate side to side in a tapping motion. Next up, we're going to reach back and touch our heels with our fingertips. I like to call these butt kickers, but as a point of reference, you can stick your hand back there and kick your hand with your foot. Then we're going to move into something that should be very familiar here, and that is what we did in the warm-up, which is a squat and a kick. Now you can extend your feet out or your leg out into a straight leg, or you can do a bent knee, touching the elbow with your knee. But I want you to focus on bringing the knee up to the elbow, not the other way around. We're going to go right into our second set, which is going to be the low puddle jumpers like we began with. So we're at about 4, 5, 6, add some flair to it, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10. Nice job. And then you're going to go into our butt kickers, reaching back for the heel. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10. Nice. Alright, okay, so now we're going into our squat, knee up or squat kicks, whatever works for you here. 2, 3, 4. I'm using my elbows down as a point of reference on top of my thighs. 6, good. 7, 8, 9, 10. Remember, you don't have to bend that deep in order to get anything out of it. Please keep that in mind. Now we're going to go into our final rotation, starting with the puddle jumpers again. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stay as low as your knees will allow you to. Keep that in mind. And then we're going into our heel taps, where you're just reaching back and just alternating. We got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe not. Do what you can. And then we're going for the squat kicks with either the leg. Remember, you have the option of putting the knee up or the kick out front. And just keep alternating over and over again until we get to the desired number of reps. Head and chin up nice and strong through the torso. This is your last rotation on this set, all the way to the end. Nice and strong. Excellent work. Here we go with the final superset. All we're going to do is basically do a reverse lunge and alternating a step back, keeping our torso nice and erect and tight. You can just do toe taps back if you can't do a super knee deep bend. But I'd like for you to step back as far as you can. The second exercise is going to be with one arm over the head and the other one between the legs. And you're just going to simply sit back into the best squat that you can do while you have one arm over your head and then one arm between the knees. So we're going to do half on one side and then half with the arms switched in the other direction. And then the final exercise in this is, I like to call these butt pushers. So you're gonna push your butt back all the way towards your heels, but your knees, you're gonna start in the tabletop position and your knees are not going to touch the ground at all. So you're gonna push your butt back all the way towards the heels and then press your chin up over your thumbs. You're just gonna rock back and forth, rock back and forth. So you're going butt to heels and then pushing your thumbs out. Pushing your chin out over your thumbs. So let's start with the reverse lunges. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you have that deep knee bend, go ahead and drop the knee all the way down to the ground. If not, do what you can. We're on 7, 8, 9, 10, and 10, and maybe a few more to go on here. 11, if you got it, go ahead and do it. If not, stop at 10. And then next up, we are going to do the overhead squats. So one arm overhead and the other one is down in between the knees. You can also lace your finger or bring your hands behind your head if you don't want to hold it straight up into the air. Let's get started with the reverse lunges, just alternating step back for 2, 2, 3, 3. Swinging the arms to the front is optional. 4, good. 5, 6, 6, nice. 7, 7. Remember, you don't have to step this far back. You can also just kind of do like a toe tap to the back. There should be about 9, 10, and 10. Nice work. Next up, we're going to do our overhead squats. So separate your feet hip width apart. Go ahead and sit back into it. 2. Keep your balance. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Remember, we switched arms because we're halfway through. And 10. Nice work. And then we're going to move into our rockers or our butt pushers, knees off the ground from the tabletop position. And you're just going to simply push your butt back towards your heels for 1, good, 2, excellent, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Remember, you're pushing your chin out over your thumbs and you're keeping your knees off of the ground. And then we're going to go into our final rotation, our very, very last set for these 3 exercises right here. So go ahead and start with your reverse lunges. 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, almost done. 8, 9, 10, and 10. Nice work. Going into the overhead squats. Remember, one arm on top and the other one on the bottom, and we're going to switch out when we are ready and we've done half on one side. So here we go for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the other side. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then we're going to go in for the body rocks. This is our last set. Knees are not touching the ground. In our tabletop position, push the butt back towards the heels for 1, thumb out over the chin. 2, quads should be on fire. 3, nice. 4, don't touch the knees on the ground. 5, this is your last set. 6, don't think about it, just do it. 7, almost there. 8, forward. 9, forward. 10, yay, good job. So we're going to go ahead into our cool down and our stretch. We're going to just sit comfortably and catch up to our breath. Start by sitting in what I call the mermaid position and just gently move into a stretch. Go to the side that's the most difficult for you first, and you're going to sort of lean in that direction. Your body's not going to want to give you anything, but I just want you to take your time and only try to lean in that direction. It doesn't have to be pretty at all, but the fact that you're even trying helps you get a really great stretch out of it. So you're just lifting up and trying to reach to that side, and then you're going to go to the easiest side, drop your elbow down onto the ground. You're not going to have any sort of interference there at all, and reach with the opposite hand. And just take your time and enjoy that stretch. But then we're going to move over to the other side, and we're going to start on this side the same way we did on the first side, and that is to go to the side where you feel like you have the most resistance, and then lean in the direction, in that direction with the opposite arm. Get a few good breaths out of that. And then you're going to drop that elbow all the way down to the ground and go to the easy side and lifting up and reach in with the opposite arm over your head and enjoy that stretch there. So you should feel the stretch all the way down from the kneecap all the way into your fingertips. Go ahead and bring both of your legs together and reach forward wherever you can, whether it would be your toes if you're that flexible, or you can reach for your shins, or you can reach for your kneecaps, or just do a very lazy forward bend, getting our hamstrings stretched out here and just relaxing into the stretch. And just continue to hold it at your deepest point until you feel like you can get a couple of long deep breaths in there. And then I want you to stack one foot on top of the other, and then reach for whatever your furthest point is. But it could be your foot, it could be your shin, it could be your knee. Or just give me a very simple forward bend in that position. You can take a couple of long deep breaths there. And then as you exhale, all you're going to do is switch legs out and do the same exact thing on the other side. And same things apply here. You're going to reach for your furthest point, whether it will be your toe, or your shin, or your knee, or whatever the case may be. You're just going to relax into that stretch. And then you're going to take that same leg and cross it over the opposite knee. And I want you to think of lifting up to the top of your head first, and then turning and looking over the opposite shoulder. So you're going to feel a nice deep twist through your center of your spine and a little bit of your lower back. Take some time to relax here. child's pose, you can always do child's pose from the all fours position. You don't have to bend that deeply into it. You still get something out of it if you don't bend that deeply into it. And here we're just doing a cat-cow, rounding out the spine, and then just switch it in the reverse direction by lifting the tailbone and lifting the chin. And then we're wagging the tail on the dog from the tabletop position, and then moving into downward dog and walking the hands and the feet together. Just a lazy forward bend here, letting everything in the upper body relax, and we're moving into elephant trunk swing, and then gently with the head the last cut to come up, we're pulling all the way up into the standing position. Excellent job. Thank you for being here. Good for you.
We'll see you in the next video.